had an actual round table
Oh.
instead of it being like a stupid like Zoom encirclement.
Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
I'm Hamish Linklater. I play Batman Bruce Wayne. That was me introducing myself.
I think I was.
Yeah, we
Okay.
that was fine.
Hamish, everybody always talks about the Batman.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm always more intrigued about the psychology behind the character that leads to that voice. Can you talk a little bit about your interpretation of Batman and his ethos that when you were cracking this character was your building blocks for kind of getting to that voice as him as Batman and as Bruce Wayne?
Well, I mean, I really, you know, I was obsessed with the animated show and Kevin Conroy, and I think even though when I was making my audition tape, I certainly wasn't trying to copy him, but definitely those vibrations were that sound was in my head, and that was, I think, probably what I was like pursuing with what is going. I mean, I've got to say that I'm like less of a what's become known as method actor, more of a sort of outside in guy. So when it sounded right in the audition, then I'm like, oh, I wonder where I went to make that sound. So maybe in the reverse order. And then Bruce Timm had this great thing, which was like, the guy is Batman. Bruce Wayne is the alter ego, is the mask, that's the invention. So that was sort of the order of business, I think.
So my question is, what is your favorite character that Batman gets to interact with in the show?
Well, Pennyworth. I mean, and you know, and the cops. My personal Hamish favorite is that those guys, because they make me feel safe and like I have friends in the world. But look, all of the villains are so delicious, and I like them all.
Everyone has, when they think of Batman, that they are like, oh, George Clooney is Batman. And when kids will watch this and adults, they'll be like, oh, Hamish is Batman. For you, when you think of Batman, who's Batman?
I have Kevin Conroy's voice in my head, and then I have sort of probably the world of the Tim Burton movies in my head. Like just the language of it and the style of it was so cool for me. Coming back in, and then, but the comic books. I mean, it's just the comic books. We didn't have like cable at my house growing up. We had comic books. So yeah.
Thank you.
Did you have to, so one of the phrases that I've always said in the mirror, because I'm a huge Batman fan, is I am Batman.
Right.
So I saw the trailer where you voiced that.
Yeah.
What kind of frame of mind, like, what did you think about when you were like, how am I going to interpret, like, did you have your own methodology, so to speak, when you said that?
Well, I really did. It was very weird because I don't usually do. This is like my first real voice-over acting job that I've been hired for. I've auditioned a lot, very badly. This one, for some reason, I was prep for a movie. I got the audition. I went and sat in a freezing cold car in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I just recorded the lines over and over and over again, far more than I'd ever done for any other audition, because I had this sort of like voice that I was like, I've got to get it. And like, I hate listening to myself, but for this one, for whatever reason, I played it back over and over and over again until it was, as close as I was going to get. And so it was really, I did it for myself, because I never thought I was going to get hired, because I'd never been hired before for voiceover work. So that was it. I mean, I don't know. I was like chasing a ghost.
Hamish, how are you? It's Rob Big Old Bell Media.
How are you?
The relationship that you have with Alford in the show comes off a little disrespectful.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your relationship as Bruce Wayne and Alfred in the show?
Yeah, calling him Pennyworth and never. It's a little removed, but I think that's probably where he needs to be to start his mission. I think to start where he's at. You're not gonna put on that outfit and go and like drive your car into people with machine guns. If you're really super intimate and close with people, it probably takes a little bit of distance, and that's got to be the closest person to him at the beginning of the series. So maybe that makes sense.
Does animation allow you to do things that live action couldn't?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I couldn't put on those pounds and make those pecs in live action. And it's a great relief not to have to do those stunts in reality. No, it's amazing. It's like so cool looking at that. And it's also so liberating too when you see what the animator brings to it. Like I really like acting when I have like prosthetics on and so on, like heavy, some mask stuff. It's always like, oh, it's not my face, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And this is really not my face. And yet with this particular guy, the responsibility is just like a 12.
Hamish, I feel like there's a push towards animation that adults would like seeing lately. Why do you think we're seeing that, and what role does Crusader play in this scenario?
Gosh, I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, there definitely is. I mean, there's a lot of grown-ups who loved the feeling they had when they were kids and they saw shows for the first time, and it's probably, interested in that audience. But I don't know, when I got these 10 episodes and I thought I was just going to watch like 5 minutes of it to see how it sounded, I was like, 10 episodes later by the time I stood up again. It was just like, I was so relieved that I didn't really hear myself in it, and so ecstatic that as a fan I had been given this gift of more of this wonderful content that I had kind of grown up with.
You talked about Kevin Conroy a little bit. Kevin Conroy became the voice of Batman for like an entire generation, and it became a much bigger job. For you, is that something, you always got to plan not just for failure, but for success? If you are successful and it connects, are you prepared to kind of widen this performance into games, audiobooks, other series, or animated projects? Or is this, right now, is this really just a kind of specific focused performance for you?
I'm so thrilled to have been asked to do what I've been asked to do, and I'll do whatever they ask me to do in this field. I mean, I think it's a total privilege. It's such a privilege. So I hope they ask me to do more, for sure.
How would you say that you relate to Batman and Bruce Wayne?
Well, don't we all? I mean, I don't know. It works because, like, he's some kind of mythic Greek figure that makes sense to a lot of people. And I don't know. I'm not Harley Quinzel. I'm not a shrink. I'm a certified psychiatrist, but. I think there's a lot of sort of like Dickens to it. I mean, there's a lot of the orphan fantasy, to it. And it's a really nice thing, I think, as an actor, when things make sense on a level that you can't quite articulate. You should just trust it at that point and not try to explain it too hard, because if you sort of solve the mystery, then you don't really have much more work to do.
True. Was it being maybe the first Batman in therapy?
I know. Why didn't they think of that earlier? He certainly could use it. That's for sure. But it was cool. That was cool.
Just, I'm just questioning, are you excited to have your own merchandise, your own figure for your Batman once that comes out?
Well, I can't. I mean, I'd love to think it's mine. It's really Bruce Timm's, and like everybody who draws this guy and writes this guy. I mean, it's. But no, like, like when I got the job, I threw out all my kids' Spider-Man stuff. For sure. This is like a Batman only house from now on.
Thanks, Hamish. We appreciate it.
No,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.